The world feels frozen in northern Mongolia. Here, the great Siberian taiga spills over the border, a vast silent forest of larch and pine. It is a land of extremes. The winter sun hangs low in the sky, casting long blue shadows across an endless blanket of snow. Temperatures plummet to unimaginable lows where the air itself seems to crackle with cold. This is the Darkhad Valley, a remote and unforgiving wilderness. It is a place where nature, not man, dictates the rhythm of life. The silence is profound, broken only by the whisper of wind through the skeletal branches of trees, or the distant howl of a wolf. For centuries, this remote corner of the world has been home to the Tsaatan people. They are often called the Reindeer People, a name that speaks to the very heart of their existence. Their lives are not just connected to the reindeer, they are completely intertwined with them. The Tsaatan are one of the last nomadic groups of their kind, moving their homes and their herds through the dense forest and across frozen plains. They follow ancient migration routes passed down through generations. Their world is not measured in miles or city blocks, but in the slow, steady pace of their reindeer, searching for the precious moss that lies hidden beneath the deep snow. Reaching this isolated community is a journey back in time. There are no paved roads, no signposts, no easy paths to follow. The taiga is a maze of mountains and frozen rivers, a landscape that fiercely guards its secrets. To travel here is to surrender to the will of the wilderness, to accept its power and unpredictability. It is a place that demands respect and resilience from all who enter. The isolation is almost absolute, a buffer that has protected the Tsaatan and their unique culture from the relentless march of the outside world for so long. But even here, in this frozen sanctuary, the whispers of change are beginning to be heard on the wind. The beauty of this land is stark and powerful. It is a world painted in shades of white, gray and blue. The snow is so deep it swallows sound, creating a feeling of profound peace and solitude. Yet, beneath this tranquil surface lies a constant struggle for survival. Every day is a challenge, a test of knowledge and endurance. For the Tsaatan, this harsh environment is not an obstacle, it is their home. They have learned to read its signs, to understand its moods, and to live in harmony with its demanding cycles. Their story is one of incredible strength, a testament to the deep bond between humans, animals, and the wild heart of the earth. The journey to the Tsaatan encampment begins where the modern world ends. We started in a sturdy Russian van, a vehicle built for rough terrain. But soon, even that was not enough. The dirt tracks disappeared, giving way to a vast open landscape buried under feet of snow. The only way forward was on horseback. Our horses, small but incredibly strong, navigated the treacherous terrain with a steady confidence that was both humbling and reassuring. We rode for days, our world shrinking to the rhythm of the horses' hooves crunching on the snow, and the sight of our own breath turning to mist in the frigid air. The landscape was a constant, formidable challenge. We crossed frozen lakes, their surfaces like polished glass hiding the dark, icy water below. The sound of the ice groaning and shifting under the horse's weight was a constant, unnerving reminder of the dangers. We climbed steep mountain passes, where the wind howled with a raw, untamed force, whipping snow into our faces. Our local guide, a man whose family had lived in this region for generations, read the land like a book. He knew which river crossings were safe and which paths to take through the dense, snow-laden forest, leading us deeper into the heart of the taiga. The cold was a physical presence, a constant companion on our journey. At night we huddled around a small stove in a wooden hut, the only shelter for miles. The temperature outside would drop to 40 degrees below zero, a cold so intense it felt like it could seep into your bones. Sleep was fleeting, punctuated by the need to add more wood to the fire. During the day, we wore layers upon layers of clothing, but the biting wind always found a way in. This journey was more than just a physical trek. It was a mental test, a stripping away of modern comforts that left you feeling exposed and vulnerable, yet more connected to the raw power of nature. After several days of relentless travel, we finally saw it, a thin wisp of smoke curling up from a cluster of tipis nestled in a clearing. It was a simple yet profound sight. This was the home of the Tsaatan. As we approached, we could hear the faint sound of bells, the bells tied to the necks of the reindeer. The sight of the herd, their large antlers like bare branches against the white snow, was magical. We had arrived. The long, arduous journey had melted away, replaced by a sense of wonder and privilege. We were about to step into a different world, a world governed by reindeer, tradition, and the enduring spirit of the last nomads. Our host family welcomed us with quiet warmth. Their home was an orts, a traditional tipi made from long wooden poles and covered with heavy canvas and animal hides. A thin plume of smoke escaped from an opening at the top, a beacon of life in the frozen wilderness. Inside, the space was surprisingly cozy. A small iron stove stood in the center, its warmth pushing back the relentless cold. The floor was covered with animal furs and handmade rugs, creating a soft, insulated surface. Life in the teepee revolved around this central fire, a source of heat for cooking, warmth for living, and a gathering place for the family. The family consisted of Ganbatar, the father, his wife, Bayarma, and their 2 young children. Their days began before the sun rose. Ganbatar would head out to check on the reindeer, his footsteps the first to mark the fresh snow. Bayarma would stoke the fire and prepare the morning meal, usually a simple but nourishing soup or salty milk tea. The children, a boy of about 8 and a girl of 5, moved with a quiet confidence that belied their age. They were already learning the skills needed to survive in the taiga, helping with small chores like gathering firewood or feeding the dogs that guarded the camp. Daily life was a cycle of essential tasks. There was wood to be chopped, water to be collected from a nearby frozen stream, and meals to be prepared. Everything required effort. Water had to be hauled in buckets after cracking a hole through thick ice. Firewood was a precious resource, gathered from the surrounding forest and carefully rationed. Despite the hardships, there was a sense of peace and contentment in their routine. The family worked together seamlessly, their movements efficient and practiced. Laughter often filled the small space, especially when the children played games on the tipi floor, their imaginations turning the small space into a vast playground. As darkness fell early in the winter months, the tipi became a sanctuary of light and warmth. The family would gather close to the stove, sharing stories or quietly working on crafts. Bayarma might be mending clothes or making cheese from reindeer milk, while Ganbatar carved a small object from a piece of wood. The outside world, with its noise and distractions, felt a million miles away. Here, in this simple dwelling under a sky filled with brilliant stars, life was reduced to its most important elements: family, shelter, and the enduring bond that held them all together against the harshness of the wild. For the Tsaatan, the reindeer are everything. They're not just livestock, they're family members, companions, and really, the very foundation of their culture. Each reindeer has a name and a distinct personality, all known to the herders. This deep personal bond is visible in the gentle way the Tsaatan interact with their animals. The reindeer provide milk, which is a staple of their diet, used to make cheese, yogurt, and a rich, salty tea. They also serve as transportation, with their strong backs carrying the Tsaatan and their belongings as they move their camps through the dense, roadless forest. The relationship is one of mutual dependence and profound respect. Herding the reindeer is a daily, year-round responsibility. The animals roam freely through the taiga, foraging for the lichen and moss that is their primary food source, especially in winter. The herders must constantly monitor the herd, protecting them from predators like wolves and making sure they don't wander too far. Ganbatar would spend hours each day on the back of his favorite riding reindeer, moving through the silent, snow-covered forest to check on different parts of the herd. He knew the location of the best grazing spots, knowledge passed down through generations, and guided the animals to these areas to ensure they remained healthy and strong through the long winter months. One of the most important yearly traditions is the cutting of the antlers. This happens in the spring. While it might seem harsh, it's done with great care and for a specific purpose. The soft, velvet-covered antlers are a valuable source of income, sold for use in traditional Asian medicine. This money is often the only cash the families earn all year, and it's crucial for buying essential supplies they cannot produce themselves like flour, salt, and tools. The process is a community affair, with families helping one another to carefully round up the animals and saw off the antlers quickly and cleanly, minimizing stress to the reindeer. The rhythm of Tsaatan life is dictated by the needs of their reindeer. Their migrations aren't random, they follow the seasonal availability of food for the herd. In the summer they move to higher ground, where the reindeer can escape the swarms of insects and enjoy cooler temperatures. In the winter, they head to lower, more sheltered valleys where the snow isn't as deep, making it easier for the reindeer to dig for moss. This nomadic cycle is a delicate dance with nature, a testament to their deep understanding of the land and the animals that allow them to live here. Their entire world is built around the well-being of their herd. Tradition is the invisible thread that weaves Tsaatan society together. It connects them to their ancestors and to the natural world around them. At the heart of their spiritual life is shamanism, one of the oldest belief systems on Earth. The shaman, or Bu, is a revered figure in the community. He is the bridge between the physical world and the spirit world. The Tsaatan believe that spirits inhabit the mountains, rivers, and trees, and that it is essential to maintain a harmonious relationship with them. The shaman performs rituals to ask for blessings, heal the sick, and seek guidance from the ancestors. We were fortunate to witness a shamanic ritual. It took place after dark, inside a specially prepared teepee. The shaman, an elderly man with a face etched with the lines of time, wore an elaborate costume adorned with feathers, metal trinkets, and long strips of cloth. He began by chanting in a low, rhythmic voice, beating a large, flat drum. As the drumming grew faster and more intense, his chants became louder, his body swaying and moving with the rhythm. It felt as if the air inside the teepee grew thick with energy. He was entering a trance, traveling to the spirit world to communicate with the forces that govern their lives. Marriage customs are another cornerstone of their tradition, steeped in ancient protocols. When a young man wishes to marry, his family does not simply ask for the woman's hand. Instead, a long and careful negotiation begins. The groom's family must visit the bride's family multiple times, bringing gifts like silk scarves and food. The most important part of the negotiation is the discussion of the dowry, which often involves a number of reindeer. This is not about buying a bride, it's about ensuring that the new couple has the resources, especially the animals, needed to start their own herd and household, securing their future in the taiga. Respect for nature is woven into every aspect of their lives. The Tsaatan have a deep understanding of their environment as a living, breathing entity. They believe that one should only take what is necessary and always give something back. When they take wood from the forest for their fires, they leave a small offering. When they hunt, they honor the spirit of the animal. This profound respect ensures the sustainability of their lifestyle. It is a philosophy that has allowed them to thrive in this challenging environment for centuries, a powerful lesson in living in balance with the world, rather than trying to dominate it. Even in this remote wilderness, the modern world is making its presence felt. The isolation that once protected the Tsaatan way of life is becoming more permeable. One of the most visible signs of this change is technology. While there is no electricity grid or internet service, small solar panels are becoming a common sight outside the teepees. These panels provide just enough power to charge a mobile phone or run a single light bulb at night. The phones rarely have a signal, but they are used for listening to music, taking photos, and playing games. It's a small but significant link to the world beyond the forest. Education presents a profound dilemma for Tsaatan families. The Mongolian government mandates that all children attend school. This means that from a young age, children must leave their families and their nomadic life behind to live in dormitories in the nearest town, often a journey of several days on horseback. While parents want their children to have an education and more opportunities, this system creates a deep cultural rift. The children grow up disconnected from the traditions of herding and the skills needed to survive in the taiga. When they return, they often feel like outsiders in their own community. The lure of the city is another powerful force pulling at the younger generation. Some who go away for school or to find work in towns never return to the nomadic lifestyle. They are drawn by the promise of modern comforts, steady jobs, and a life free from the daily hardships of the taiga. They send money back to their families, but their absence weakens the community. With fewer young people to learn the traditional ways and manage the herds, the future of this unique culture becomes more uncertain. Each person who leaves creates a hole in the fabric of their society. This slow creep of modernity creates a world of contrasts. A herder might spend his day tracking reindeer through a pristine forest following ancient knowledge, and then spend his evening listening to pop music on a smartphone. Children learn the names of the spirits of the mountains from their elders, but they also learn about a world of cars, cities, and computers at school. The Tsaatan are navigating a difficult path, trying to embrace the benefits of the modern world without losing the cultural identity that defines them. It is a delicate balancing act, and the outcome is far from certain. The Tsaatan way of life is fragile. It's a delicate ecosystem of tradition, nature, and community that is now facing unprecedented pressure from the outside world. The challenges are numerous and complex. Climate change is altering the landscape, making it harder for the reindeer to find food. Government policies on land use and education are pulling the younger generation away from their nomadic roots. The allure of a more comfortable life in the city is a constant temptation. The very survival of their culture, which has endured for centuries in one of the world's harshest environments, is now in question. The contrast between their life in the taiga and life in Mongolia's capital, Ulaanbaatar, is stark. The city is a bustling, chaotic place of traffic jams, concrete apartment blocks, and modern consumerism. For a young Tsaatan person who moves there, the transition can be jarring. They trade the profound silence of the forest for the constant noise of the city. They exchange a life of purpose, tied to the rhythms of nature and the herd, for a job that may feel disconnected and meaningless. While the city offers material comforts, it can also lead to a deep sense of loss and displacement, a feeling of being untethered from their identity. If the Tsaatan way of life disappears, the world will lose more than just a picturesque culture. We will lose a unique body of knowledge about living in harmony with nature. We will lose a language, ancient shamanic traditions, and a deep understanding of the reindeer and the taiga ecosystem. This is not just a loss for the Tsaatan people, it is a loss for all of humanity. Their culture is a living library of sustainable existence, a reminder that there are other ways to live, other ways to measure wealth and success that are not based on material accumulation, but on community, tradition, and a connection to the earth. The future rests on a knife's edge. Can the Tsaatan find a way to adapt without assimilating completely? Can they integrate modern tools like solar power and education in a way that strengthens their community rather than dismantles it? The answer is uncertain. As we rode away from their camp, leaving the smoke from their tipis behind, the silence of the taiga returned, but this time, it felt different. It was filled with a sense of urgency, a quiet plea from a culture on the verge of vanishing. Preserving their traditions and their livelihood is not about freezing them in time, but about empowering them to choose their own future. A future where the reindeer can still roam and the whispers of the ancestors are not lost to the wind.